Hello everyone, welcome back. JavaMentor.net here. In today's video, let's learn about immutable classes. Immutable classes are classes where if you initialize object of immutable class and you set some state to that object at the creation time of the object, you cannot later change state of that object. So I created one immutable person class which has two fields. I created all args constructor and I introduced getters. And now if we try to create an object of this class in this fashion, there is absolutely no way to change person's name. You can try like person dot, there is no setter, so you cannot do that. You cannot do first name or something or ID because those fields are private. So once you initialize your object and you initialize these fields to some values, ID and name, there is no way to later change those values. So this class is indeed immutable. Now let's try to introduce one more field. So let's say that there's a list of string and we introduce that nicknames into the constructor as well, right? We say this dot nicknames equal nicknames, nothing unusual, and we introduce new getter. So get nicknames, and here we can say new array list. Let's add one nickname here. Let's say that is my nickname. If we try here to print line person.get nicknames and we try system out print line, we will have one nickname. But after the creation of this object, what we can do is we can say person get nicknames and we can say add. And then in this fashion we can add new nickname. You can check it out. Now if you try this, let's start application, we will have different nicknames, which means that our immutable person class is indeed not immutable. We created a bug in that immutability. Okay, we try to invoke our test endpoint, and as you can see, first time list of nicknames only has one nickname, that is here, and then we have two nicknames. Our immutable person is not immutable at all. How to solve this problem? There are two ways. Our main problem is that our list is not immutable. So this list is mutable. So here, instead of creating mutable list, what we can do is we can create immutable list. So this is a decorator pattern. You can try to Google on that pattern. It's not a topic in this video, but basically this method, you can pass parameter that is mutable and the result will be immutable list, which means that now let's stop our application and start it with new changes. If we try to invoke add on this immutable list, we will receive exception. Let's give it a try, send. So it says unsupported operation exception. Here you cannot invoke add method on the immutable list. Another solution would be to create defensive copies, which is way more stupid than this. You can Google on defensive copies to see what's that all about, but this decorator method is solving your problem. So now our problem is solved. Our immutable person is again immutable. I mean, there are a lot of small tips and tricks how to create your classes to be immutable. I just wanted to show you one very basic example. So basically, when you create immutable classes, you want to make sure that all fields are private. You want to make sure that you only have a constructor that will initialize all of your fields that needs instantiation. you don't want to include setters and so on and so on. For example, you don't want, in our case, to include no args constructor, because how on earth will you later set name if you create an immutable person without name through the constructor? That doesn't make sense. Okay, we saw how to create our custom class to be immutable. Now the funny thing is, string is also an immutable class. So if you create an object of type string and you set some value in the beginning, there is no way to change that value later. You might say, yeah, but I can do something like this. Name equals to something, and then I will change the name using substring method, and name will be different. Yes, different, but completely different object. Substring method returns completely new object. So you're trying to call on this object substring method, and that substring method will return you completely new object as a return value, and then that completely new object that is a return value you are assigning to this name reference. And if you pay close attention, I just have a pointer to the old name here in this old variable. So let's check it out what will happen here. You can see that name is now completely new object, this without S first letter, but the old object is present in this variable. So old string is not changed. Old string is not changed, but name variable has a completely new object. The very similar thing applies to wrapper classes. So all wrapper classes, integer, double, float, and so on, all of them are also immutable. In our immutable person class, you saw that we need additional effort for this list to make it immutable, but we don't need that additional effort for those two fields which are strings, because they are immutable by default. Okay, we learned how to create immutable classes. In the previous tutorial, we saw one problem which can happen if classes are mutable. So if you use immutable classes in multi-threading, you will decrease your chance of creating a subtle bug. But immutable classes are not good only for multi-threading. There are plenty of other examples. For the end of this immutability video, I just want to show you one new feature of Java 14. So in Java 14, they introduced a feature called record. And this feature is intended to mimic immutable classes. So if you create a record in this fashion, so I created some record called person record with two fields, first name and nicknames, I basically got something very similar, to the class. As you can see, I can use all args constructor. I can use getters in this fashion, first name, or I can try nicknames, that is a getter as well. And also equals and hash code methods are overridden, and also to string method. But still you need to be very careful, because still you can introduce the same bug as before. You can call getter for nicknames and you can add some new nickname. So be very careful. You can fix this by here, instead of creating array list, you can pass, for example, collections unmodifiable list, and this will solve the problem. So this record feature in Java 14 is not out of the box solving all of your mutability problems. You really need to pay attention and to think, but records are helping out, that's for sure. In the next video, let's learn about difference between string, string buffer, and string builder. That is related to the multi-threading, and it's related to the immutability. See you in the next video.